The next Transmog battle is done. Fish and Kiltun both created a set with a theme, Servant of a Lich King, and both of them came up with something pretty interesting. We didn't get the typical Frost Death Knight that usually comes to mind when thinking about the Lich King. Instead we got two very unique Transmogs that still fit very well. So let's take a closer look into this. Graphics. Both sets will score pretty big in this one, since both sets aren't really any pieces that stick out too much. If we take a look at Fish, we can see many 3D armor pieces with unique designs like the belt, the backpack. They all fit very well together, except for two parts, and that are the mask and the gloves. I do understand why Fish wanted to use this mask, because it fits perfectly into the entire theme of the set. But regarding the graphics, even Fish has to agree that this mask looks pretty outdated compared to the rest of the set. But since everything else still fits perfectly, I still give 8 points. Kiltun's set does not have such a problem. All of the items look pretty great, and from a graphical point of view, there's nothing to complain. 10 points. Color coordination. Fish set is a very matching set color wise. The green poisonous glow goes through the entire set and it all matches very well. The only issue I have is the belt that uses a different green tone and kinda sticks out. 9 points. Kiltun's set is interesting. We have 3 base colors in this set: purple, light blue and gold. The golden color can be found on every item, regardless if the main color of the item is purple or blue. If you compare the helmet and the shoulders, you will see that the exact same golden color is used. I have seen some comments saying that the blue wings aren't fitting, and to be honest, that was my first impression as well. But the longer I looked at this set, the more I liked it, especially since the blue doesn't only appear on the shoulders but also on the gloves and the cloak as well. The cloak even uses all 3 of the main colors of the set: purple, light blue and gold. When first seeing both sets, I was certain that Fish set would get much more points than Kiltun for the color. But here we are, and both get 9 points. The theme. Now, this is gonna be interesting. As I said in the intro, when thinking of a Lich King, these sets are not what comes to mind. They both did something really special, and they both did it really well. Fish went for the theme of a Plague Master, and he went completely into it. With a perfect back attachment, poisonous green glows, and I didn't mention it yet, but the artifact weapon for Unholy Death Knights looks fantastic on him. I give 18 points for Fish. Kiltun went for, as he told me, a Nerubian Hive Master. And it slaps. The helmet really brings this theme to life, and using it on an undead character also was a great choice, since the stance of the undeads makes this whole set much more creepy and bug-like. Also, the colors Kiltun shows are simply perfect matches for the theme. You can say the blue isn't fitting as much as you want, but if you take one step into Anchor Head, you will see exactly the same colors as in this set. This is next level stuff. 19 points. Extra points. Fish set is a banger. I want to make a Death Knight just to look exactly like that. The small issues I have with the helmet, gloves and belt are something that can be easily overlooked, and it captures the theme of a Plague Master perfectly. 9 points. With Kiltun's set we have a little problem. Overall, I really love this set. I like the colors, I like the theme, I really love it. The problem is, if you wouldn't know this set is supposed to be a servant of the Lich King, you wouldn't realize it. The Nerubian Hive Master Kiltun only looks like a Nerubian Hive Master because you know he's supposed to be a Nerubian Hive Master. Without that knowledge, he could also be a servant of the Old Gods, for example, with that helmet and the overall look. Fish set doesn't have this problem, but since I really like the set, I still give 6 points for Kiltun. Which leads us to 44 points for Fish and 44 points for Kiltun, and makes my analysis as unnecessary as Mecha Gnomes, because with that, the viewers get to decide it all. And you guys have seen it pretty different. The majority of you have voted for Fish, which I can definitely understand. On first sight, Fish was also my clear favorite. Kiltun's set needs some time to really appreciate it, and you guys obviously didn't look at it as long as I did. I think Kiltun's set definitely deserves some more love than it got, but I'm completely fine with your decision, and with that, Fish goes into the quarterfinals, where he will face Mastero. Tomorrow we will have Demalos vs Infidel, and both made a set using the Doom Crown of Lei Shen, and I'm gonna warn you right away. They both came up with pretty similar sets. I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you next time. Until then, see ya!